You obviously know how much your camp wants to do. Do you use at all any motivation in the sense that the perception will be everyone would want her to win because they don't want the Rousey then matchup next up? Do you even use that as motivation, or do you care about that?
No, I don't care about that at all. I'm just focused on winning this fight against Holly. They can make the matchup with her not as the champion too. So, I mean, if that's something that they really want, then they can put that together. It just won't be a title fight.
Right. So that wouldn't bother you going into it or not. And I don't even know if it would be against you, more so the perception that they want to see that again to see if it was real.
I want to see it again to see if it was real too. I'm 100% on that page, definitely. But they just might have to accept the terms that it won't be a title fight because I'm going to have the belt. So.
How much different has been the preparation this time? I mean, there's no animosity, there's no storyline and emotion and all this to build up. It's just getting ready for a championship fight.
It's been great, and other than you guys, I pretty much shut off all media. That's something that it's really different because before I used to try to spread myself as as wide as possible, but sometimes realize that your mind is a muscle too, and it can fatigue just as well. So setting the cup down and taking more time to just relax and focus on the fight, I feel that I've reached a new level with that, and I feel really good going into this fight. So I've been telling everybody else, like, you can talk to me after I have the belt.
Leading, before this, you were promised a fight with Ronda, and then Holly got it. How close were you to retiring at that time?
I was considering retiring out of frustration, not out of feeling like I didn't have what it takes anymore, but just thinking that I don't get to choose when I fight for the title. That they could tell me like, oh, you're gonna fight for the title, and then you're not. Like, it's my fate was in someone else's hands, and I was frustrated for a moment, thinking, well, I'm not in this for a participation ribbon. I definitely want to become the UFC champion at one point. That's definitely on my career bucket list. And I thought that maybe that was something that they were telling me was never going to be an option. And that was kind of like, oh, well, then what am I doing? And then, fate has a way of working itself out. And I think that opportunity can present itself so destiny can fulfill itself. And that's where I think I'm at with this.
Did that change when you saw Holly beat Rousey?
Yeah.
Your total attitude on her?
Yeah, my attitude had a complete 180 when Holly knocked out Ronda. I thought, well, there we go. I'm back in the game, ladies and gentlemen.
So tell us your feelings as you watched the fight progress.
I was pretty surprised after the first round, and I was curious to see what adjustments would be made in the second round, and there was no adjustments made on Rousey's side. They continued with the same game plan, and that led her to her fate, essentially. Holly looked amazing. She proved that she's one of the best strikers in the world, but she has yet to prove that she's one of the best MMA fighters in the world.
Do you think when you watched it and everything's happened with Rousey since then, the invincibility aura is over for everyone, other fighters? Someone's proven it can be done, and how much would that give you confidence if that happened for you? There's no more invincibility in that kind of term.
Say that again. If there's no more what?
Like she's invincible, like she can't be beat. Obviously, she can now. So someone like you win this and get that shot. How much actually does that help you mentally at all, or does it not seep in that it's been done and it can happen?
I haven't even thought about that, honestly. I've been so focused on Holly that Ronda's the furthest thing from my mind. What she's saying, what she's doing matters like less than this to me. So, at the moment, like, granted, I win this fight with Holly. She's proven that she's an amazing champion. She took out one of the most dominant fighters in the world. So I think that she's has every bit of right to earn all of my respect and all of my attention. And I don't want to take that away for a moment. I don't want to think about anybody else but Holly on Saturday. Once I get past that fight, then I'll start breaking down what's next.
You talked about suicidal comments. The interview that she gave, saying about that she had like suicidal thoughts. Did you see that?
Yeah. I did see that, and I just, we all have our emotions. This sport has broken me before, definitely, and I have built myself back up from the ground, and here I stand, stronger than I've ever stood before. So, I'm not going to make any comments on her specific thoughts. I'm a different fighter, but I feel like, when you get knocked down, it doesn't matter. You just got to stand back up.
As energized as you were seeing Holly win, and of course you started lobbying for the fight right away, was there some doubt in the back of your mind, like the UFC is just going to book this rematch?
And I didn't think that they were going to book the rematch, honestly. I thought for sure that I would be next because I thought that Ronda would be out with injury for too long. And then I was really pretty certain that that was going to happen when she was saying that she wasn't going to be able to bite into an apple for at least 6 months, and they wanted her to fight in 7 months. And I was like, this is a no-brainer, you guys. Like, she can't prepare for a fight with that. So I was like, I'm in. And then the UFC was like, no, you're not. And I was like, what do you mean? They're like, she's going to fight. And I was like, well, shoot. And then that was kind of the mentality for a minute. And I just said, you know what, I'm just going to prepare as best I can, and if that title fight comes to fruition, then it does. If it doesn't, then I'm on to the next thing, but there's light at the end of the tunnel. I kind of just had a more positive approach on everything. And, it turned out that Ronda wasn't going to be able to make that timeline that they wanted, and Holly wanted to stay busy as any champion should. And here I am.
You know, when you went into fighting Ronda, she was the poster girl along with being champion. Now you're fighting Holly. She's a new poster girl. Is it, you look at it more than just getting a belt? You want to be the poster girl now? I mean, along with being a champion?
I just want to be the best. I want to prove to the world that I'm the best. In my mind, I'm already the best, but I have a little bit of proving to do on Saturday, obviously. There's some people who doubt, and I want to shut out all cases of doubt. I want to go out there and win this fight in emphatic fashion, and I want to be the champion because that belt symbolizes to me more than just a shiny new belt and a label and a poster. It symbolizes the past 10 plus years that I've put into this sport, busting my ass to get where I'm at. And every time that I've gotten knocked back down, the message I want to send is to get back up, and that you can always accomplish your dreams. You know, you just got to put your nose to the grindstone and do it.
Despite your rivalry with Ronda, you were always complimentary of how she handled herself and what she did contribute to the sport. What do you think about Holly's reign as champion? I know it's been pretty short so far, but what do you think? How has she handled herself? Has it done good things for the women's division?
I think one of the best things for the women's division was to have a change in events like that, to have Holly win, to show that there was more depth in the division, because I think that was what we were under the biggest scrutiny, that there was no depth and that Ronda was just going to run through everybody. So having that change of events really turned a lot of attention to the women's division, said, whoa, where did this girl come from? A lot of people weren't aware. You know, I've been following Holly's career for quite some time, so I knew who she was, but I think a lot of other people were like, well, this is kind of interesting and perhaps refreshing that there's someone out there who can, who could take out the best woman fighter in the world. And with that being said, how Holly's represented herself, I think, is you couldn't ask for a better champion. I mean, she's really done a phenomenal job, and she's a great spokesperson. She's a great role model, and she's just great all around.
What do you think about her rise? Because you mentioned those of us that were following her career, everybody's like, can't wait till this girl's in the UFC. She comes in the UFC, and it's like, where's that girl? She had a couple of kind of ho-hum performances. Then the title fight is amazing. Comes out, she was holding back. Her coaches say that she was purposely not showing everything. Do you buy into that? Or do you think that when you evaluate her performances, do you buy that she was maybe kind of laying out a little bit, holding a little back?
I personally don't. I don't believe that any fighter goes into a fight and saying, oh, I'm just going to give 80% or 90% or 95%. I mean, I feel like you've got to go out there and give 100% for every fight. And I don't think that Holly's the kind of champion that wouldn't do that, or the kind of fighter that wouldn't do that. But what I do believe is that Ronda forced more out of her, if that makes sense. Like, she really had to use more. Maybe the other girls didn't pressure her in the same way and kind of just allowed her to do, what she's comfortable doing. And we saw Ronda really forcing that pace in sort of a reckless way, and Holly rose to the occasion and she shined. She looked great doing that. So it just kind of depends on the style matchup. As it's just a testament. Some fighters, she's gonna edge out in a split decision, and look, and then other fighters are like, wow, she looks amazing. So it just depends on the matchup.
Do you take something out of that? Because a lot of people think not that you need to be reckless, but that you do need to be aggressive. If you're going to win this fight, you obviously can't stand in striking range. You got to kind of push inside and be aggressive. But you're saying it was Ronda's aggression that probably played against her and helped Holly look so good. There's
a balance to everything, and aggression is important in fighting, but so is calculation and precision and knowing your timing, knowing your distance, and understanding the setups and everything that it takes to be a complete martial artist. And I think that I think that Holly's been able to shine with the matchups that she's had so far. She's looked spectacular, but if anybody knows anything about my fighting style, it's it's not clean and pretty always, and I will make it a dogfight if I have to, and I'm more than willing to if that's what it takes to get the title fight. I'm not out there to play patty cake with this girl. Like, I'm out there to do what needs to be done and take care of business and win this fight in any way that I need to. So I'll make it dirty if I have to.
Will it mean anything less at all to take the belt from Holly than would it to take it from London?
I ask myself that question sometimes too, and it's like, as much as I would have loved to be the one to take that first defeat, from Ronda, I'm happy that if it wasn't me, it was Holly. I've said that before. I really have a lot of respect for that girl. But at the same time, I didn't get into this sport thinking like, I want to have an arch nemesis that I can, that's undefeated, that I can beat someday. This is not at all the reason I got into it. I got into it because I'm a competitor and I just love to compete. This is the best form of competition, and that's it. That was my goal from the beginning, and that's my goal now. So it doesn't matter who's holding that belt. And at the end of the day, that is a faceless woman standing across the cage and standing in the way of my destiny.
You talked about the stylistic matchup. How much do you feel like your wrestling can play a hand in doing your striking?
I think it's going to play a big part of it, because I think she's going to have more to worry about than one thing, So I think being well-rounded and having spent so much time in this sport and having so much experience, and really believing, I know what Holly has to offer. I know that she's going to be a tough fight. I'm mentally prepared for that. I don't expect to win this fight in under 60 seconds. Great if I do. I would love that. But I am prepared to go 25 minutes. And I will fight till the 24-minute and 59-second, goes off. And if I can finish that fight at that point, I will. I'm in it to win it the whole time. And it doesn't matter, how many times I get knocked down, I will get back up, I will keep coming. So she's got to look to really, really finish me if she wants to win this fight. So with that being said, I know that I have what it takes to win this. I know that I have all those tools on my tool belt. I know that I'm well-rounded. And I know, everyone thinks like, oh, if you strike with her, you're going to be in trouble. Well, I don't know how I don't know if I agree with that completely. Actually, I would say that I don't agree with that. I think that I can hurt anybody on the feet, and I think that if everyone is thinking that if this fight only stays on the feet, that Holly's gonna win, they're wrong. You know what I mean? I can definitely win the feet there too. So it would be a mistake on Holly's part to underestimate the power that I have in my hands.
The mental preparation that's gone into this fight for you, you talked about it a little bit earlier. What has it taken for you to turn that curve and really feel the confidence that we're hearing from you right now?
Well, it's just learning experience, honestly. It's just more time in this sport. It's learning about myself. It's learning to move better with my coaches. Sorry, something like that. Asking myself questions, learning, figuring it out, trying, failing, winning, losing, all of it, everything combined. It's just been it's all led me to this moment. I feel like it's a very pinnacle moment for me, and sometimes when it just feels like it all comes together at the right time for the right reason, you just know it. And I just know it from the bottom of my heart that this is exactly what was meant to be. I was supposed to go through those trials and tribulations. I was supposed to lose to Ronda 2 times. She was supposed to get beat by Holly, and now I'm supposed to beat Holly. And that's just the way that it's going to go. It's destiny and it's fate, and I know it.
You said something to the effect of champions like to stay active, so you figured that Holly would want to fight, but I don't know, some champions I don't think would. Some would say there's a big, huge rematch against Ronda. I just did very well in that fight. Why not just wait? Did you know, maybe because you personally knew Holly a little bit, did you just know she wasn't like that she would stay active, that she wouldn't sit around and sit on the belt, and she would give somebody like you an opportunity who was waiting in line?
I figured that Holly would want to stay active, but I didn't know that. I don't know her well enough to put words into her mouth. Like I said, I like her. We filmed a movie on set together, but it's not like we have any kind of history or deep friendship or really anything that I could offer as insight. I don't know, but I just thought, I've been watching this girl for a long time. She seems like a really stand-up girl. She seems like the kind of girl who would want to stay busy and prove that she's the best in the world, and I admire that trait. I think that greatness recognizes greatness, and in that sense, I recognize that greatness in her, that she wants to be busy, she wants to prove to the world everything. She's said, I don't want to be a one-hit wonder. That's great, but we'll see.
Is it weird, sitting here and listening to you talk about it, the situation, and saying like, yeah, they can still do the rematch even if it's not for a title. Like, is it strange to you to think that you would win the title, you would be the champion, you have the belt around your waist, and Ronda wouldn't fight you? They would go to a different matchup? Because it would seem like she would be the obvious number one contender at that point. Would that almost rub you the wrong way? Like, why aren't I'm the champion now? Why aren't I getting that fight?
Strange, no. I've seen stranger things. I like getting promised title fights and not. So, you never know what could happen. If they're really dead set on that rematch, they may make that rematch with it not being a title fight. If Ronda wants to a shot back at her belt, they'll probably do that too. So I really don't know what the UFC is thinking, and I don't try to guess anymore. I just know that this fight is happening Saturday, and that's it. Like, to me, in my mind, there's no date after March 5th. Like, nothing happens after that. That's like pretty much the end of the world to me. It's like March 5th and that's it. When I see a date written somewhere else that says after March 5th, I get weirded out. Like, wait, there's something happening after March 5th? Like, it really weirds me out. I see movie dates, so this movie's premiering, I'm like, but March 5th, like, it's the weirdest thing. I'm so tied to that date, and I just cannot, for some reason, break my focus to think about anything beyond that.
In your mind, which is the tougher fight for you?
I mean, they're both tough, and I can't say because I haven't fought Holly yet, you know? So I know Ronda's a very tough fight, and I believe that Holly will be a very tough fight, but I'm confident about this style matchup. I believe that if you were to make a fighter to beat Holly, it would be me. Ask what is a fight? What does someone need to beat Holly?
Saying that,
It's what I have.
and you said you've seen Stranger Things. What are your thoughts on the UFC not making your fight since it's for the belt, the main event?
Well, my thought is that Connor's still a champion, so I understand, why they would want to keep that. And it was supposed to be for a title fight. Connor's been training for 5-minute rounds, like. You know what I mean? I don't think it's right to take that away from him, and he still is a champion. He still holds the belt. He still has that, that carry about him. So I understand it. It doesn't bother me a bit.
So you have a Brazilian friend, Duda, and she already fought Holly. Any word of advice come to that?
Yeah, she gave me some words of advice, and what it's like to be in there with her and how to move and all that stuff. So she did. She definitely gave me some good advice, but I won't be sharing that with you guys till Saturday. What? Yes, she is. She will not be in my corner, but she'll be there. I think she's going to be in someone else's corner. Someone else. Yeah. There you go.
So, like, a lot of people talk about Ronda's comments. I know you don't want to talk about it too much, but you've lost a big fight before. And what happened when you lost to Ronda the first time? I mean, how down were you, and how hard was it for you to pull yourself back from that loss and recover?
Extremely hard. It's one of the hardest things I've ever had to do. It's something you cannot begin to understand until you've been at the bottom of the barrel and you've been kicked while you're down, and you're just like, man, this sucks. Like, I don't know. Like, and then you just got to make up your mind. And I think this is going to be a pivotal moment in Ronda's career to see. Everyone kind of wonders, like, and I always said, winning is easy. Winning is great. Winning, you're on top of the world. You don't have anything to really fix. You're doing great. So keep doing what you're doing. You lose, and it's like, oh man. You have to really sit down and kind of be honest with yourself and look yourself in the mirror and be like, I messed up. I lost that fight. I cost myself this. I made this mistake. And that's hard to swallow. It's hard to deal with. And yeah, I've been there before, not considering suicide. I never took it, that seriously, but it's just, it's hard. It's hard. I sympathize with those emotions. I've been there, and it's, it's kind of like, I think it was a necessary evil. I think that Ronda needed to experience that, because that's just the way that it goes. Nobody stays undefeated forever.
Do you think losses sometimes bring people to the point of no return?
Absolutely. I think losses can break people to the point of no return, and I think that's, what I find admirable in the people, that I look up to or role models in my life are the kind of people that have gone through those adversities and gone through those losses and kept going. Because when life is perfect and you're winning at life, hey, it's no brainer. Like, things are awesome. I'm not going to change anything. But when you lose, or you lose at life, or something bad happens, something forces you to adjust. Either you adjust or you don't. And that's what I think the world is curious to see when Ronda comes back. Will she adjust or will she not? She's talking a lot about Holly. I want to be the one to beat Holly, and I need her to win and everything. But I don't know how much of that is really true or not. I think she wants to believe that, but I don't know if deep down she does. I think Ronda would be intimidated to fight Holly again, but I'm not saying that she wouldn't. I think that she's a pretty headstrong person, but we'll just see what happens.
What kind of adjustments did you make after your second loss to Rousey?
Well, I realized that I made a lot of mistakes in that fight, and just trying to make those adjustments in training. That's the biggest thing that you can do. Going back to the drawing board, not lying to yourself. Say, yeah, I did. I messed up there. I kept trying to take her down. Why the heck I was trying to do that? You know what I mean? Like, what are you thinking? Sometimes you go in there and you try your best to be cognitive in the moment, but you get on autopilot sometimes, and you just are doing what comes out instinctually sometimes. And so I made mistakes, but you do your best to go back and fix them. You know, there's no real answer to that other than trying to improve and listen to your coaches and listen to the people around you who you trust and trying to improve on that.
But how much of that was emotional too? Like one of those fights, most in charge. Do you look back at that and think I was a little bit too emotionally invested in that fight?
I think I wasn't emotionally invested enough in that fight, actually. I think that it was the exact opposite, because I was so drained by the time that fight came around, so sick of being on The Ultimate Fighter, tired of seeing her every single day and having to deal with that and keep my calm the whole time, and try to carry a level of professionalism and just, stay even keel. That I think I felt a little bit flat going into that fight. I don't feel like I was as into it, I suppose, a little bit drawn out. And that's what I'm talking about, the lesson learned of spreading myself every single which way and trying to accommodate every single person and trying to find that balance. And I really went the polar opposite way, and I kind of just I kind of flatlined a little bit, and was kind of tired. I was tired going into that fight. I was tired of all of it. I was like, this all just be over with. I'm like, not enjoying this anymore. And that's never a fun feeling. I've got into the sport because I love it, so I don't want to make it something that I don't enjoy.